Yeah, I don't do commentary videos unless I do. I'm going to weigh in on New York Times top 30 American songwriters that are still breathing air on planet Earth. Okay, I'm going to talk about it just because why not? Everyone else is doing it. Beato released a super boomer video on it. It was kind of funny. Fantano had a good video about it. Culture United had a great whole segment on it. And I just want to be a part of the dialogue. Okay, you want to see my new band Believe review? That's coming. That's dropping tomorrow or today or yesterday. I don't know what. I already recorded it. But I want to talk about this. I love this kind of stuff. I love music criticism. I keep my 1,000th collector's edition of Rolling Stone right here. We're talking super 90s garbage. When did this even come out? 2006, same thing. I love music lists. I love the kind of debates they can have. And I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated by this list. First of all, the props to New York Times for being smart enough, props to failing New York Times, to which I do have a subscription for free from my university, but I still have a subscription technically. Okay, I read it. It's a good magazine. It's a good newspaper for the most part. It kind of stinks they make so many mistakes because it's hard to be authoritative. I've been quoted in the New York Times talking about Charlie XCX, and that was a highlight of my life. And one of the worst things that happened is it happened after my dad died because he read New York Times every single day of his life. Anyways, so no shame on New York Times. I think it's a good newspaper, and I got to give them credit for this idea of having a top 30 list, because that's not nearly enough spaces. So they know that they're going to have to leave people out, and they know people are going to do think pieces, because the only way to have your top 30 list ignored is to have it be a good list. You have to find the sweet spot of having it be just horse hockey enough that people will argue with it, but just valid enough that people will take it seriously. So let's talk about the general framing of this idea. So we have the top 30. Okay, top 30, not top 50 for that reason. American. Okay, that's interesting. Living songwriters. So when you say living songwriters, that means you're cutting out most of the greatest songwriters in the history of America. Fine. I get it. I get the idea. Brian Wilson just died. I am surprised they didn't just put Brian Wilson on there anyways, just trying to see if we didn't notice. So this is the criteria. They didn't give a whole long list of how they came up with this. They just gave us this one paragraph. And again, I'm a subscriber, so I could tell you. More than 250 music insiders and 6 New York Times critics weighed in on who defines the new American songbook. Here, in an unranked list, are the artists they chose. Props to them for having it be unranked, because if you have to rank Bob Dylan and Smokey Robinson in the same list, you're screwed. Because whichever one you pick, you are completely wrong, dude. Okay? So, did I just call you dude? So, okay, all right, unranked, that's good. Who defines the new American songbooks? I guess what they're trying to say is that there's the classical American songs. When you think about what makes American music, these are the people who wrote those songs. So it's already a weird thing because it's a sort of mishmash of people who are active now and people who were active in the past. So of course, Willie Nelson has to be on this list. But it's not like what Willie Nelson is writing right now is defining the new American songbook. He defined the new American songbook maybe once in the late 70s and then way before in the 60s, right? Maybe in the 50s. Man, he's been around forever. I've never had a chance to listen to early Willie Nelson, the most beautiful voice on planet Earth, okay? But okay, so but then also all right, Bad Bunny. So Bad Bunny, sure, should be there. I have no debate with that as far as I'm concerned. He's definitely helping to define the new American songbook. I get that, but he's super active. So already we have this weird thing of are we talking about people who are writing songs now or not, or people in the past? Is this legacy acts? And all kind of gets mixed up in there. But I love it. I love this list because they just say, why? Because, I don't know, this is what we did. New American Songbook. What does that mean? I don't know. I got to go to the bathroom. You just figure it out. Here's 30 names. You fight about it, okay? So here's my complaints, okay? First of all, if you don't care about country music, just say you don't care about country music. I don't have the answers for who should be on here. But I can tell you there's not nearly enough country music songwriters on here. Because, like, country music is, like, written by many different people, and many very famous and important people have wrote very important songs that I don't know the name of because I'm not a country guy, okay? That's not my bailiwick. That's not my hootenanny. But someone should. I feel like that's underrepresented. But of course, the main thing I'm interested in is, like, if you don't care about rap music, just don't include it on the list. Like, if either really take it seriously and give us a good representation of hip hop and rap songwriters, or just say we're not including rap music because we don't know how to include it in these metrics. Because the ones they included, like, I'm not saying that Jay-Z and Kendrick Lamar aren't great songwriters, but are they great songwriters? Like, does Jay-Z write songs? I don't know. Like, he's the greatest rap lyricist of all time. He's a great performer of rap music, but he's always had great producers. So, like, who's writing a rap song? And if Jay-Z's on there and then Nas is not on there, then it just doesn't make, then your whole list just doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't, you cannot have one without the other, I don't think. And same thing with Kendrick. Like, Kendrick doesn't write songs. He writes raps. He writes, I mean, I guess he writes songs. I guess he co-writes all the songs with lyrics, but the whole thing feels oddly anti-hip-hop producer, like the people who actually make the music. And Young Thug, I don't know, I just think he was on there just for shits and giggles. Whereas you have Outkast. Outkast makes sense because they produce and they make the songs themselves. So they do everything and they are all on there. But then once you realize that they're not really prioritizing hip-hop production, you realize the whole thing probably shouldn't have hip-hop at all. The number one thing that shouldn't be there, and I don't understand why people didn't talk about this more on the Culture United thing, I don't know. But the idea that Kanye West is not on this list is the most horse hockey thing I have ever seen on any list ever. I understand that the man is a white supremacist and anti-Semite who said and done many bad things, okay? But if you released this list in 2007 and you didn't include Michael Jackson because of the accusations, your list would have been garbage. This list is no different. It's completely invalidated. Talking about redefining the American songbook, as a songwriter, Kanye West has done that about 3 times. Around 3 times, he has redefined the American songbook. It doesn't matter what metric you use. Sales, inspiration, influence, impact, creativity, recognition from critics, recognition from the street, recognition from people all across the world. Like, what more could you want out of an American songwriter than what Kanye West has done as a rapper, to an extent, and as a producer and a songmaker? How can he not be on this list? I understand how he can't. I get it. But, like, are we just going to accept that now? We're just going to accept the complete erasure of perhaps the most important songwriter, American songwriter of this century? They're not even going to be on the list? I mean, you can make a similar argument about R. Kelly. I understand the man's an abomination. I get it. But he's not one of the best living songwriters, American songwriters who redefined the American songbook. Would James Brown have made this list if he were still alive? I hate to keep on harping on this Michael Jackson, James Brown, and Kanye West correlation, but they're pretty correlated to me. These 3 giants of music who are just too often discarded and thrown away for their actions and ignored for what they did for music. But maybe he's not on there because they don't respect producers. Great. I'm so happy that Missy Elliott is on this list. But how in God's green earth is Timbaland not there with her? It's Timbaland and Missy Elliott who redefined music of the 90s and the 2000s. I'm not saying Missy Elliott shouldn't be there. I have an autographed picture of Missy Elliott downstairs, okay? I love Missy Elliott. I love her. She deserves all the credit. But actually, in this case, she deserves half the credit. Because, yeah, she did a lot of that stuff for, Aaliyah and all that and redefined all these things, but she did with Timbaland. Why not include Timbaland on there? So what, the Bomb Squad are dead? Public Enemy? That didn't redefine music? That didn't change the way music sound? Marley Marl doesn't count? Okay, maybe you need people who also rap. How is Dr. Dre not on this list? How is the person who made Fuck the Police, Ain't Nothing But a G Thing, all those Eminem songs, and did rapping, how is that not one of the great American songwriters who's alive right now? What is the possible reason for his erasure? Or maybe you want someone who's a little bit less controversial, who maybe beat up a few fewer women in the public space. So then go for Pharrell. How is Pharrell not on the list? How is he not on the list? How is Tyler, the Creator, not on this list? Okay, I get it. You only have 30, and that's not enough people. But do you see what I'm saying? It's not that Young Thug shouldn't be on the list. I get their point that he helped sort of mainstream melodic rap. I mean, okay, fine. But like, just say you don't like rap producers, because what is a songwriter? But I'm not going to stop there. Oh, no. I'm not through with you by damn sight, failing New York Times, who I have a subscription to and generally support. Just say you don't like indie music. Okay, good. Stephen Merritt's on there. Awesome. Super. Cool. How in the happy hell is Rivers Cuomo not on this list? The guy from Weezer is not a entry point in the Great American Songbook? Okay, maybe you don't include David Byrne. Maybe if you're not into like punk and post-punk. But Iggy Pop isn't on the list. You know, I'm not expecting Bill Callahan and M. Jira. Okay, I get it. I get it that they're not on the list. But it just seems weird. They would just sort of do these little tokens, just kind of here and there. Just like, oh, we need an indie person. Oh, we need a female person like this, you know. No one was like, hey guys, I think Joni Mitchell is still alive. Look it up, could you? Joni Mitchell, is she still alive? AI assistant, no. Okay, Wikipedia, yes. Okay, she is still alive. We can't include her. We'll just throw Fiona Apple on there. And just, you know, say you don't appreciate black music history. Al Green is still alive. George M.F. and Clinton is still alive. Shout out to Dwayne and Culture United for going so hard on this. But the idea that the person, like the erasure of funk and soul on here is just wild. It's just insane. Hell, say you don't even appreciate just good old pop music. There is no way you can tell me that Jack Antonoff is not one of the great contributors to the American Songbook. Okay, you put Lana Del Rey on there, and you put Taylor Swift on there. Great. Common denominator time, everybody. Common denominator time. Like, we don't need Max Martin, right? That's what you think when you think, oh, great pop songwriters. We've got Jack Antonoff. Okay, you're not going to go Daniel Nigro, even though he arguably is, you know, ridiculously influential and he's coming up there now. But Jack Antonoff isn't on there. I guess they just don't appreciate producers in general. But I will say this. I will say this for this whole production. They didn't include the Eagles. And they didn't include Billy Joel. Therefore, I like this list. Thank you. Don Henley is not to be found. I don't mind Joe Walsh, but Don Henley is not to be found on this list. Billy Joel is not to be found on this list. Billy Joel erasure makes my heart warm. So I come around on this. If you maybe just could have made it 33 and thrown Ye on there and Pharrell, you know, and Dr. Dre, you know, you don't have to include everybody, I said. Definitely George Clinton has to be on there, you know. But anyways, there's just some of my thoughts on this goofy little list. It's a goofy little video for a goofy little time. I think I'll release this on Friday, and then I'll release my my new band Believe one on Sunday, because I'm just getting kind of loosey-goosey like that. All right. Do I have any more thoughts about this list? I do like these list kind of deals. They're fun. They're fun to talk about. Oh, yeah. Justin Vernon, also. Bon Iver, you know? I mean, I know his name is kind of French, but he's also American. All right. Well, until next time. Who do you think? Oh, my God, Skye. You have to get If you don't get engagement, your channel will not grow and you will not be able to retire and do this full time. So you can talk about music that people don't know about. You don't have to do as many commentary videos to keep your numbers up. So tell me in the comments, who do you think is the biggest miss on this list? Okay? Who do you think is the biggest miss on this list? There's the camera.